Welcome to Science, Health and Healing Encyclopedia of Children's Health Core and Ali Academy. I'm Dr. Majid Ali. The subject of this article is Paradoxical Insulin Response Part 2. In Part 1 of this series on paradoxical insulin responses, I explained that when you are insulin toxic, your blood insulin levels are 2, 3, sometimes as much as 10, 12 times as high as they should be in good health. And you begin a program of insulin reduction, such as I described in a video entitled Dr. Ali's Insulin Reduction Program. People begin to lose weight, they feel lighter, they feel more energetic, they do not suffer from the problems of sugar craving and also low blood sugar, as the blood sugar is dropped precipitately by a sharp rise in insulin level. I introduced the term paradoxical insulin response in this series on video articles, as well as in a written article posted on kids123.org, kids123.org, to explain this phenomenon where while you're doing the right things, initially the insulin levels can move in the opposite direction to the one that is expected. You begin the program to drop the insulin level, but actually what you find by laboratory testing is exactly opposite of that. We need to understand this. This is a case of a 53-year-old woman who consulted me for irritable bowel syndrome, GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disorder, gastritis, and enlargement of the liver. Clinically, I strongly suspected that her liver enlargement is because of fatty change, and the fatty change of the liver is because of insulin toxicity. And so we did an insulin profile. Here are the values. Please watch this program a second time. You can write down the values. It makes so much more sense to you. So on April 4, 2012, the fasting insulin value was 6.8. In very healthy people, it's actually less than 2 units. At 1 hour, it was 78.8. In many healthy people, the peak insulin value is less than 25. Now at 2 hours, our insulin value was still very high, 71.5. Almost 3 times as much as it should be. And at the end of the 3rd hour, it was 30.8, and at 4th hour, it was 4.3. So clearly, she has very high elevated levels of insulin, and she is insulin toxic. And the laboratory validated my clinical impression that her liver enlargement is because of fatty change in the liver caused by insulin toxicity. Now her blood sugar fasting was 100, which would be considered abnormal. And then at 1 hour it is 166, at 2 hours it's 101, at 3 hours 71, at 4 hours a value of 56, which would be considered in the hypoglycemic range. This is where we started Dr. Ali's insulin reduction program. Now on June 13th, which is a little bit less than 9 weeks later, her fasting insulin level rose from 6.8 to 9.9. At 1 hour, it rose from 78.8 to 84.8. At 2 hours, it rose from 71 to 101, 30% increase in insulin. Remember, she is on Dr. Ali's insulin reduction program. And at 3 hours, her insulin rose from 30.8 to 40, still 25%. And of course, at 4 hours, from 4.3 to 7.6. Our blood sugar value is 97. We didn't much change at the fasting level. At 1 hour, 173, which would be a pre-diabetic range. At 2 hours, 123. At 3 hours, 55. Hypoglycemic range at 4 hours, 53. The patient was very dismayed. Since I had never seen a case like this, I told her that I needed to really look at these numbers. As I usually do in cases like this, I made a table of the previous values on April 4, 2012, and compared that with the values obtained on June 13th of the same year. And this is when I realized that what I was observing had never been reported to my knowledge in the literature. The reason for that is that most people, after they do an insulin profile, they are not likely to do a repeat insulin profile after 9 weeks. This patient was very curious. She's very intelligent. She's very thoughtful. She wanted to know. She told me she had lost 6 pounds in weight. She lost the symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, those types of symptoms. She did not have the symptoms of gastritis or GERD, heartburn anymore. So she was feeling very happy about the whole program. She felt lighter, more energetic. And she was deeply disappointed when she found that her insulin levels were actually higher while she is following very closely Dr. Ali's insulin reduction program. And at that time I realized that this has not been documented and I need to document it. In fact, I need a term for it. So I coined the expression paradoxical insulin response. The point here is this is an initial response. In part 3 of this series on paradoxical insulin response, I will explain how this happens. Of course, this is an initial temporary response. There is no reason to worry about it. But it is important to know that in the early stages, you may have laboratory data which are contradictory to how you feel and contradictory to what you expect. Our vision at Children's Health Core is to provide information which is authentic, free of cost, free of corporate deceptions, and free of ideological distortions. Please forward this YouTube segment to your contacts and support our vision. Visit our website kids123.org and we give you some suggestion how you can participate in our effort, this global effort to do something good about our children. Thank you. Thank you for joining me.